Hey, this is Russ. This is my second ride for today. I went out early this morning, all the way out to Bussy Woods, came all the way back. Now, it's in the afternoon right now. I don't know what time is it right now. Oh, roughly around, it's hard to read this, almost 4 o'clock. Coming up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't usually go out this late. But I look at my footage that I shot at Bussy Woods, and it didn't turn out too good. I tried a different technique, and it didn't look good. So I figured I'd go out again and record some more stuff for you guys. I wanted to let you know that I changed my tires, like I mentioned, changed my front tire, I should say, and changed the front brake pad. Now, changing the front tire was a piece of cake. That was no big deal. I added in a little bit more slime because I only had maybe around 4 ounces of slime, which is not really enough. You need about 8 ounces. But, the first time I did this, this was like right after I bought the bike. The inner tube exploded on me, and I think it hit a pinched flat. So I put in like 8 ounces of slime in that. So that only left me with 8 more ounces between the two tires. So that only left me with 4 ounces each, which is not enough for a fat bike. You really need about 8 ounces for each tire. So I said that I would go ahead and put in more slime once I would change out the tires and stuff again. So I added in about maybe another 3 ounces or so. I've got probably maybe 7 ounces of slime in there right now. But the rear tire, of course, still only has about 4 ounces in there. But I'll add that in when it comes time to change out the tire. Of course, you could say just deflate it and stick it in there, but hey, it's okay. We live dangerously. So the tire change wasn't a big deal. Although I do feel a lot better that there's a newer tire in the front. I feel like I can steer a little bit more accurately, a little more confidently, a little more grip on the road. And of course, with the new Kenda tires, it still has that whining sound because it's got little nubs on it. So, what about the brake pad? Well, that was a whole different story. I had already heard that sometimes these things can be a little harder to do than you think. So I watched a bunch of videos and attempted to change it. Now, changing it out wasn't really that hard. Putting in the disc of the rotating disc on your tire through the new pads, that was another story. I did it really the way that most of the videos have telling me to do it, but I found that the opening wasn't wide enough for me to put in the brake disc. And that's only because, when you change out your brake pads are thicker than your worn out brake pads. And so the opening becomes smaller when you got two big thick brake pads there. So I couldn't figure it out. I asked some people on the Rad Power Bike forum that's on Facebook, and most of them just kind of pointed me to videos again. And one guy just said, "You're doing it wrong." Well, we know we're doing it wrong, otherwise it'd be in there, right? But he offered nothing as far as, how to do it right. Anyways, after working on this for a while, it finally dawned on me. I says, this thing has to be wider. How do I make it wider? Then it dawned on me, and the thing that all the other videos didn't really tell me to do was release the brake cable, take the entire tension off the cable. Once I did that, that opened it up. Now, that should be something simple to remember to do, but it just didn't dawn on me. And of course, since the videos didn't tell me to do it, I didn't think to do it. So now I know, and so I spread it to you guys now. if you ever change your brake pads out, all right, and you can't get your disc back in there, release the tension on the cable. That'll open it wide up, put it in there, and then retension the cable, set it up again. So that's what I did. Took me a while. Yeah, I was at it for, I don't know, hour and a half maybe, try to figure it out. So yeah, something simple. It's always something simple that you always forget. I think need to double check the alignment a little better, because every now and then I hear a little bit of grinding, so which tells me that the disc is slightly touching the brake pad maybe as it's rotating. Not enough to cause any real problems or anything like that. It's not really stopping me or anything. But yeah, it's probably off by just a hair. So we'll fix that. No big deal. Anyways, that's the exciting stuff going on right now with the bike. I would say I've gone through quite a bit of things already with the bike. The only thing I think I have not had to adjust yet is the derailleur. If I'm forced to one day do the derailleur, the derailleur and also the controller. I've not had any problems with the controller or anything like that. So, but as far as like the tires, yeah, I've pretty much touched all that stuff now. I've taken the rear tire off, changed out the tires, I've changed out inner tubes, I put in slime, I've changed out brake pads. So if I ever have a problem on the road, I think I probably have a good chance of being able to fix it. The only other things are the derailleur, anything with the controller. The chain. I haven't done anything with the chain other than lube it. So, but overall, I would say I've touched a lot of the mechanical things that need to be fixed already. So I decided to go back out again now, just so that I can put together a video for you guys, so that you can see this either Sunday or Monday. I'm not really sure when I'll release it. I'm just going through the standard path that I usually go on. I just wanted to go out. A lot of times after I'm done, I either edit a video or just sit around and watch a bunch of videos. Better to go out. And since it's not that hot today, I think it had a high of 81. It might be around 81 now, but it doesn't feel quite like 81 when you got wind blowing up against you. So yeah, I said, yeah, I'll head out. I'll go out and see how it is during this time of the day. Someone asked me too if I had ever joined or considered joining any of the local bike clubs. Well, I had to wonder whether the bike clubs even welcome e-bikes. Even if it did, I still have my questions whether I would join one, because they would take you out riding and you riding the streets and whatever. I'm doing that now. It's not like they're gonna bring me to too many other places that I probably haven't already done or can't do on my own. Of course, the whole point of bike clubs is the camaraderie that you have with other bike riders, right? That you have fun riding with them. But with bikes, when you're riding with somebody, you can't ride side by side. You really have to kind of ride single file, so you really can't talk with them anyways. And then I kept thinking, would non-e-bike riders welcome e-bike people? And would they actually ride fast enough and far enough and long enough that I would want to join with them? I know that sounds kind of funny, but the reality is with an e-bike, you do go quite a distance. I mean, this morning I already did over 30 miles and I'm out doing it again. Most riders would have a hard time doing 30 miles with a manual bike. That would be a hard thing to do. So I don't know. So would I join one? I don't know. Probably not. Knowing myself, probably not. I do notice that I get quite a few more bugs bumping up against me around this time of the day. Oh, we're going up the hill. I'm going to have to pedal hard. I keep forgetting at this area that you got to go up this hard hill, and if you don't pedal it, you're going to have a problem. Yeah, this is the one thing that I wish that this bike had a little more torque to get up this particular hill with less problem. But I've never not been able to get up the hill. I just had to work it to get up the hill. So I did see my first deer at Bussy Woods today. Small little guy. Was actually on the path. Kind of stopped. He kind of looked at me. I slowed down, but I was inching forward, of course, and then he finally got scared and ran off into the woods. That's usually what's going to end up happening anyways. You know, they kind of stare and stop and stare at you, then run away. And I saw 3 elk at Bussy Woods today. They were really close, but I couldn't get any closer to stick my camera through the fence. I felt that might be too close to them. And I tried to shoot what I could, but the footage didn't look good anyways. And they may be different ones, because there was 2 female and 1 male, and the male was huge. This thing was huge. So yeah, there might be more elk out there than I thought. They're hiding somewhere, because I hadn't seen them before. I don't know if this one elk is the same as the one I saw before, but this time 2 females and 1 really huge male with huge antlers. So overall, I've been having fun on the bike. I have had to do, like I said, some basic maintenance with the bike, but that's expected for anything mechanical. You're gonna have to change out brake pads. Hey, you change out your own. Well, you don't do your own for many people, but you do change out brake pads for a car, right? Same thing with the bike. You're gonna have to eventually change it out. So what did I have? I had like 1,625 miles, so 1,625 miles, and I had to change out the front brake pad. I didn't do the rear. I figured I'd do that one at the same time when I actually change out the rear tire, because I think it would be easier doing it at that time. I know the sun is up against us. Probably makes it a little tougher for you guys to see. Traffic is definitely heavier. These are people coming back from work. Crossing this intersection won't be so hard, but crossing the other one is going to be a tough one, because there's no stoplights or anything, and if traffic is as heavy as it is now, unless those guys stop for me, it's probably going to be really hard to cross over. We'll see. Those guys are left turning. Make sure there's no more other left turners. Crossing over. All right, let's push the button and position ourselves back to cross over this way. All right, so let's cross. Make sure the guy knows that I'm in here. Yep, he knows. He's not going to run me over while turning right. All right. Okay, so my little alarm clock thing's telling me I've got a few seconds before I need to change out the camera. Hello. So let me just move up a little bit out of this wooded area, and then I'll stop and then change the camera out. Really, I'm not changing the camera out. I'm just stopping the camera and starting it back up. But I'd rather get out of the path before I do that. All right, let's do that over here. All right, I'm back. Doesn't take too long to do it, but it has to be done. Otherwise the camera will stop on its own anyways. So what did I do that made the recording bad early in the morning? Well, I typically use aperture priority mode when I record with this point and shoot camera. And what that does is I choose the aperture, the camera chooses the shutter speed, and of course it's also based on your ISO settings and all that kind of stuff. So I usually set my camera for ISO 200 so I have less grain, and then I'll usually pick f5.6 for the aperture and then let the camera choose its shutter speed. Okay. Now the problem is that if I angle my camera slightly too high, because the camera's mounted to my chest. If I angle slightly too high, the camera thinks it's shooting the sky, so it tends to darken the scene. And so the foreground, the path that I'm on will actually look darker, trying to make the sky look better, okay? And if I angle downwards, then it's looking at the ground, and it might expose the ground properly, but then the sky might actually blow out. So I thought, well, if I shot it manually, would that help? The problem is that's fine if you're doing photography, but it's very hard to do that with video, because as you can see, sometimes I'm under shade and other times I'm in bright sun. So so when I took the exposure, because I used a exposure meter to measure the lighting I was getting, it measured proper lighting for the situation I was at, but of course throughout the ride it varies so much that portions of the video washed out, other portions got too dark, and I said, well, at least now we know, got to stay with the way I've been doing it. Auto mode sometimes is good in terms of video. I'm not really an auto mode person when it comes to photography, but for video you kind of have to, because it's too much dynamics of change of lighting. You would never be able to keep up doing that, and of course I never really see what the end result will be until I get it back home to edit, because it's mounted to your chest. You don't actually see the screen. So that's why I'm out again. See all the things I do for you guys. Now I wanted to go back out. I was just kind of getting bored inside, and I knew that it was a cool enough day. 81 does not sound cool, but I knew with enough wind it would be cool enough. All right, so as we approach this intersection, what do you think our chances are? I think this is going to be a tough cross, because I know cars are coming down because they're all coming back from work. This will be a tough one to cross, that's for sure. Let's see. Hopefully we don't get killed out here. All right, so let me position myself here. And believe it or not, we lucked out. Yeah, right between all the openings of cars. Yeah. Hey, I was lucky. I thought for sure I'd be waiting for a while. All right. Not too bad. Now, I did ride this path once after 6 p.m. and vowed I would never do it again. Too many bugs and stuff come out later, and didn't really enjoy that. So, not quite 6 p.m. right now. It's like 4 o'clock or so, 4 something. You know, with the rains that we had for the last several days, there's a lot of twigs and stuff out on these paths. Those are the things that'll probably puncture your tire if you're not careful. A lot of fallen branches running over. Especially under this area, it's very heavily wooded. The main 3-mile circle probably won't have as much because really there is no trees covering it too much. See how bright it is here? Yeah, shooting it manually would not have done well over here. But early in the morning, it was kind of overcast. That's why I figured maybe I'd give it a try, see how it would come out. But yeah, it's just too variable. Lighting is too variable. Alright, so right now I'm using the Rad Power Bike's battery. The large battery is what I used for Bussy Woods, and that's still charging at home. You know, to charge that battery fully is like 9 hours, but again, I didn't use up the entire battery, so my guess it'll take about 6 hours to charge that battery. Yeah, I've seen a lot of wildlife since coming out on these bike trails. Lots of deer I've seen, elk, a couple of turtles, a snake, field mouse, chipmunks, squirrels. One thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see a skunk. That I don't want to run up against. We do have skunks in our area because you smell them every now and then. I just don't want to run up against one out here. I have not seen a coyote out here, but we know that they exist in this general area. Alright, I've seen coyotes, but not while I was out on the bike. I've seen coyotes when I was in the car. Different areas, not around here. I've seen foxes. Not around here. Around our neighborhood, I've seen the foxes. Saw one walking across our front yard once. Saw another one walking in our neighborhood, so I slowed down in my car and just kind of followed it. It looked at me, I looked at him, he kept walking, I kept following him. I think it was wondering when I was going to get lost, but nope, I followed him around the neighborhood. So anyways, lots of wildlife, lots of bugs. There was a bunch of dragonflies flying around just a moment ago. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was around on the ground. Yeah, there's a lot less people out right now. Doing the head nods. Head nod greeting. Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll do more in the future. We'll go different places. Got to figure out some other places that we haven't been to before. That's harder to do than you think, because I got to plot out the route and try to find areas that might have some interest. So anyways, I'll work on that. I'll talk to you guys next time.